What up, YouTube? Barcode here, bringing you another Heir of Light video. Just want to give a quick shout out to the people that made it to my stream Wednesday night. It was an awesome stream and a very generous stream, and I appreciate everyone that was there. I had tons of fun. We went through, I wanted to make it over 3,000 carats refreshing the black market, but we spent a lot of time reviewing accounts for new players that jumped into the stream, so I only made it to about 2,500 carats, but it was definitely profitable. I bought 13 Supreme Stones from the black market. I got 55 Twilight Shards. I got 50 Legendary Shards, 35 Summons out of 2,500 carats, so you got to think about that. It's definitely profitable to get regular summons over the 1,000 plus 1. The 10 plus 1, which is 1,000 carats anyway. I got 30 special stones, and then I literally spent like 13 million gold. So from the 50 million gold, if you have, you know, a ton of gold, that's the only time I would recommend refreshing the black market. But it is profitable. So especially those Supremes. Supremes are capped every day. So getting those extra Supremes are awesome. This video is going to be about one thing and one thing only, and that is potentials. Now, potentials, it really depends. I mean, early game, you're not going to be spending a lot of time with potentials. You really want to focus potentials only on Nat 4s and Nat 5s because Nat 3s don't have any. Specifically Nat 5s, because that's where you can get into a lot of different things. Now, there's potentials are new, so not all the Nat 5s are actually fully functionable with potentials, especially like people like you know, ranged characters, for example. They don't have the lower transcendence of them. Okay, now tanks do, and a lot of other characters do, but like healers, ranged DPS, supports have them, but there's still a lot of work to be done with that. So that will be coming up in the future. However, if you have some rainbow stones already from events, or if you're crafting them, or whatever the case, or if you're whale and you're buying them, I'm going to talk about where to use them and how efficiently to use them and what to look out for. Okay, there is a couple different things that you need to look into. First, if you're early game and you want to use some rainbow stones, right, to unlock some potentials. If you're early game, you know, you may be using them into Nat 5s because that's really where you want to focus in on. But if you leveled up a Nat 4, such as Water Charlotte or Fire Enoch or whatever the case may be, right, you at least want to get in the beginning, the very first one, because for every first one, it's different depending on the servant, but as you can see, increases crit damage by 80%. That's awesome. Water Charlotte increases speed. Who else can we look at? Another Dark 4. Okay, Dark Enoch, his potential is increasing speed. Okay, so, and it's only 3 rainbow mods. God, rainbow mods again. Rainbow stones. So it's definitely something to focus in on if you have a limited amount of rainbow stones, right? So the first rainbow ones, you have to, when you unlock it, right, it starts out at level 1. Then you start using the tiger eyes, the potential that you get from world battle, even if you're failing every single time and getting Fs on every single rank, right? You still want to do it every day. Why? Because you get these potential enhanced stones, the tiger eyes. I keep calling them tiger eyes, dragon eyes, whatever you want to call them, right? Even at F rank, you get them, okay? And it's important because you need a ton of these, all right? So you should be farming world battle no matter what status you are. If it's unlocked for you, you should be farming it, even if you die instantly in every single floor, okay? Definitely want to do that. All right, so like I said, for potentials, you want to go look into at least unlock the very first one, because for every single one, they're going to have something that helps that character, right? Even this increased defense, which is a flat, I think it's increased to 1,000, I believe, if I remember correctly. I can't remember, I don't know, but I think it's 1,000, so it's worth. Okay, it's definitely worth early game. Now, once you start getting into maybe a specific Nat 5 that you are getting a ton of dupes into, that's when you want to look into the transcending ones, because these are the very most important. This top row, I always talk about this as it's literally just this is like defensive. And they're important though. They're important, especially for tanks and even DPS that have really awesome passives like Water Lenore with the when she gets hit, her max glancing goes up, or Far Simone. People like characters like that. These top ones definitely make a difference. Why? Because I will show you. So for example, I'll just go Firehide for example, right? In this top level of potential lists, you can get crit rate resist from DPS. You can get crit damage reduction from DPS, right? Decreased damage in the battle tower. Ignore defense, ignore resist. It's huge, okay? You want this extremely, especially in this meta that we're in right now. You like if it's a tank, you want to try to get pretty much all of it, like a defense, ignore, resistant every single one that you roll into, okay? Because it's huge. It reduces so much damage, and if your tank has like sustain, like a water Anku or a fire Torhino, people like that, right? That's going to be huge, and it's going to be a lot harder to kill in tower invasion defense because of all the buffs that have been given, especially in the last update, to their HP and defense or whatever the case may be for that class, right? It's huge to have these things. Once you start getting to the when you fifth awaken your character and you're able to get to this top row, more potentials come out. There's silence resist, there's reduced damage from DPS. There's a whole bunch of different ones, okay? And they can be a huge thing. Now for Water Charlotte or any ignore defense character, for example, right? You start getting into when you ignore defense, right? And the tank of the enemy has defense, ignore, resist. You want to look into getting defense, ignore, attack accuracy rate. This will kind of balance out the two, okay? And now that everybody is building for that defense, ignore, resist, you're going to want that defense, ignore, attack accuracy, okay? So that's something to look into for someone like an ignore defense character, okay? I want to talk about some key things for Nat 5s with the Transcendence, the bottom row, okay? For tanks, for example, a lot of them are different, okay? Now, you have to look into what they specifically have. Like, all the tanks pretty much on the third Transcendence of Nat 5s, they have this taunts for 21 seconds when the battle starts. That's actually really good, especially if you're using different elements. Like if it's not mono element team, if you have all dark, all light, all fire, whatever, your tank is going to get hit first because he's frontline, and that's how the game works, right? But say you have a fire tank and you have a nature DPS behind your fire tank, right? If the enemy brings a fire damage dealer, right off the bat of the battle, that fire damage dealer is going to be targeting your nature forest servant, right? So if that fire enemy can do enough damage to one-shot your forest damage dealer, and they are faster, like the overall total speed of the enemy's team is faster, they're going to get the first global cooldown. So they're going to be able to one-shot your damage dealer. So having something, a potential like this is awesome, okay? I want to talk about a lot of different characters, but just because I'm trying to limit the video as much as possible, because there's so many different options. You literally have to look into it yourself and see, okay? And see what's best for your team. But I want to talk about one specific character that everyone can get. Every single person can get, and that's Water Heir, okay? Now that I'm 9 months behind, I'm working on combining for Water Heir every single month. I'm not going to build him personally until maybe next month when I get a second one, because I might not even build them till I get Water Heir till 70. The reason being is a lot of people already have Water Heir at 70, right? And if you take your level 64 Heir and there's an enemy Water Heir that's level 70, I'm pretty sure if I read patch notes correctly, my passive will not work. Don't quote me on that, but I know there has something to do with if there's a passive that coincides with another passive, or if there's the same servant of that you have is on the other enemy side, whatever higher level character, theirs take priority. Now you can comment down below and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's something you want to maybe look into, and maybe look into the comments and see if somebody's commented on it. I know somebody like Asian or maybe Midnight Apollo or somebody can correct me if I'm wrong with that. You know, some of the OGs that didn't quit like I did. So, but definitely look into that. But Water Halo, right? I want to talk about her passives, his passives, the trap. What are you? Tell me, woman, female. I could probably look into the story and figure that out, but I'm not going to right now for the purpose of this video. Anyway, so potentials, right? I want to talk about a couple different potentials, right? For transcendence, when you get to this point, right? Okay, so when you use a combat skill, you'll get a heal over time, right? Which you already have that on a skill, but it's still awesome, because if you don't use the right skill properly, you know, the first skill, exactly, you won't have the heal over time. Every single skill will have a heal over time. Now look into the second transcendence. Prevent all enemies from healing when you use a combo skill. So the faster Halo is, the more skills you're pumping out, the more heal over time your team has, the more buff block, right? The heal block, I mean, the enemy team has. Go into the third transcendence. Now this is when it starts to get crazy. Okay, you can see, you know, it'll increase all attack of allies, increase the defense of all allies when the battle starts. Secondary mark rate increase, which would be good if you use like Water Rem, for example, or anybody that would combo off of Halo. Chance to reset cooldown upon using skill. This is huge, and it's super annoying if you have someone that has this on Halo. You don't know how many times I can strip a shield, but that the Halo is so fast that the shield is back literally for the next global cooldown. It's crazy. Okay, go into the fourth one, the fourth transcendence. Okay, I want to talk about one specific one. Okay, there's a lot of good ones, like combo skill gauge of DPS class. When an active skill lands as a crit, you're not building Halo for crit, so not really a huge thing. Active skill gauge of support when the tank is struck, so it's kind of like another, like a Fire Blavatsky kind of passive, right? And there's all types of other ones. Fills active skill gauge of all allies for each buff removed from the enemy. The main one I want to talk about is this one right here. Grants all allies a shield based on 9.5 HP, whatever, max 18%. Upon active skill. Okay, now think about that. Okay, anytime you cast a skill, a shield pops up on your team. Now look into his passive, or her passive, the trap's passive, Halo. Reduces damage received from combo skills by 80%. So no matter what, you're gonna get a shield if they use a first skill, second skill, whatever. This is huge in PvP, but it's extremely huge in tower invasion. Okay, because Halo is the only person there besides the tower that's defending Halo. Every time you use a skill, a shield comes up. So anytime the shield is up, you need like constant strips non-stop in tower invasion to kill a level 70 fully decked out, potentialed, awoken, transcended Halo, because he's always going to have his shield up. Your third skills against him is hardly going to do anything unless you have some kind of buff block or strip non-stop. It's extreme, and it's awesome. But it's something that you have to theorycraft and think about when you're bringing teams against Halo. But that's just one of many, many, many different options to go by. Okay, now for potentials, depending on your status of your game, it really depends on where you are and what you want to do, okay? Because awakening, when you're early game, awakening to the 3rd level to get the slot 7 gear is super important. Why? Because everybody, you know, I don't have it on Firehide right now because I had to change it, but everybody should have speed in a necklace, even your tanks. I don't have a good petrify speed rune right now, so eventually I will, but every single character should have speed in a necklace. Speed is king, and it always will be. Even if this is not like a turn-based game, it's a skill gauge turn-based. I don't even know how to clarify it, but it's huge to have speed. Okay, so when you're thinking about using your supreme stones, yes, you can craft rainbows in the crafting here, but you need 3 of every single element, and that can definitely hurt if you're using that to craft, and then you can't go and awaken some of your servants to the 3rd awakening because you're using our rainbow stones. Potentials are amazing, but you need to focus on awakening 2 at the same time. So it definitely depends on where you're at in the game, whether you want to use the rainbow stones on potentials or awakening. And awakening, I feel, is much more important early game. So just think about that when you're trying to progress in this game, especially because floor 11 and floor 12 of the awakening dungeons should be an way early goal for you. And early meaning it's still early game because you're gonna have to farm supremes nonstop. But the floor 11 and floor 12 awakening dungeons should be definitely a first goal. You know, one of the first goals after Omen. Anyway, Omen, Hide, 10. So that's all the time I have today. I will be streaming tomorrow night, Saturday night as well. Please make sure to come. All new players welcome. All old players welcome. I'll be doing question and answers, you know, helping out and just hanging out and having fun. So it's definitely been a blast streaming again. So thank you for watching, and I'll check you guys in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like my content. Talk to you later. Peace.